gun tracks pierced the quiet suburban night of Ridgewood Heights, Ohio. In an instant, a 5-year marriage ended in blood, betrayal, and bullets. What would drive someone to murder the person they once vowed to love forever? What transforms love into such hatred that death becomes preferable to divorce? At 11:17 p.m. on September 23, 2022, a 911 dispatcher received a call that would haunt her for years to come. The voice on the line was unnervingly calm. "I shot her. I shot my wife. She's not moving. Please send help." Those words came from 43-year-old Aquila Mercer, standing in the hallway of her Tudor-style home, still clutching the 9mm Smith & Wesson that had just ended her wife's life. To neighbors and colleagues, Aquila and Priska Mercer represented a modern success story. She, an ambitious pharmaceutical sales director; her wife, a brilliant microbiologist leading breakthrough vaccine research. Their social media showcased professional accolades, exotic vacations, and passionate advocacy for LGBTQ causes. But within the walls of their Sycamore Avenue home, a very different reality existed, one of control, isolation, and escalating abuse that would culminate in premeditated murder. If you're fascinated by stories that reveal the dark side of relationships and the warning signs that too often go unnoticed, hit subscribe now and join our community of true crime hunters. This channel explores cases that might save your life or the life of someone you love. North Star Biomedical represented the pinnacle of pharmaceutical innovation in the Midwest. Within its glass and steel laboratories, Priska Mercer had established herself as a revolutionary force in vaccine development. At just 31, her research had already received 2 patents and secured millions in funding grants. During a quarterly planning meeting in 2015, Priska delivered a presentation on breakthrough mRNA technology. Sitting in the front row, visibly impressed, was Aquila Mercer, the company's formidable sales director known for doubling regional revenue within her first year. "The attraction was immediate and intense," recalled Victor Torres, Priska's research colleague. "You could practically see the electricity between them." Their courtship moved at breathtaking speed. First date at Columbus Symphony's Spring Gala. Weekend trips to Chicago by month 2. Aquila moving into Priska's downtown apartment before summer ended. By winter, they purchased their Ridgewood Heights home. Their May 2017 wedding at Columbus Conservatory dazzled guests with botanical displays, string quartets, and heartfelt vows that moved many to tears. Regional magazines featured the celebration, describing it as a testament to love transcending boundaries. As their professional statures grew, so did their public profiles. They co-chaired fundraisers for LGBTQ youth organizations, appeared on panels about workplace inclusion, and mentored young professionals. Their joint Instagram account, @MercerMagic, showcased a seemingly perfect union, coordinating outfits at charity galas, sunset kisses on Caribbean beaches, champagne toasts on anniversaries. "They became role models for many couples in our community," said Naomi Blackwell, Priska's university roommate. "Everyone wanted what they had, at least what we thought they had." But behind the carefully curated social media posts and professional accolades, a dangerous pattern was forming, invisible to even their closest friends. 6 months into their relationship, subtle shifts began. Text messages recovered later from Priska's old phone revealed an alarming progression. "Aquila texted me 27 times during my conference presentation," Priska wrote to her sister in November 2015. "She says she worries when I don't respond immediately." By early 2016, Aquila had convinced Priska to share locations on their phones, for safety. Soon after, Priska began canceling long-standing lunch routines with colleagues. When questioned, she explained that Aquila preferred they eat together. "We noticed changes in her behavior during the 2nd year," said Dr. Olivia Pearson, Priska's department director. "She stopped attending optional team events." Conference travel became a source of obvious stress. She began checking her phone obsessively, always with that anxious expression. Simultaneously, Aquila initiated a campaign of financial entanglement. She persuaded Priska to add her name to research patents for tax purposes. Joint accounts replaced individual ones. When Priska inherited a lakeside property from her parents, Aquila quickly suggested adding her name to the deed in case anything happens to you. Most concerning was Aquila's reaction whenever Priska's family tried to visit. Sudden work emergencies arose. Plumbing problems made the guest room uninhabitable. Eventually, family visits stopped altogether. How many of us have ignored red flags in relationships, dismissing them as quirks or overprotectiveness? How often do we rationalize controlling behavior as evidence of deep love? By their third anniversary, Priska's transformation was noticeable to everyone at North Star. The vibrant scientist who once led teams with confidence now spoke softly, checked her watch constantly, and wore high-necked clothing regardless of season. She jumped when her phone rang, remembered Torres. Physical changes were obvious too: significant weight loss, dark circles, constant exhaustion. When COVID-19 forced remote work in March 2020, Priska's last escape route vanished. Home became both workplace and prison. Neighbors reported hearing intense arguments through open windows. Meanwhile, social media showed #quarantine couple goals posts of home-cooked meals and matching loungewear. The pandemic didn't create their troubles. It merely removed the remaining barriers to full control. The Bioinnovation Conference in Minneapolis, March 2022, became the unexpected catalyst for Priska's liberation. After delivering her keynote presentation on mRNA advancements, she approached her department director with trembling hands. "Dr. Pearson, I need help," Priska whispered, glancing anxiously at her phone. "I can't go back to that house." Hotel security footage captured Dr. Pearson escorting Priska to her room at 9:47 p.m. For 3 hours they remained inside while Priska revealed the full extent of her nightmare: financial exploitation, emotional manipulation, and escalating physical intimidation. Security cameras showed Dr. Pearson standing guard outside while Priska made several calls. "She finally told me everything," Dr. Pearson later testified. She removed her scarf to show bruises on her neck. She played recordings of threats. Worst of all, she believed Aquila might kill her if she attempted to leave. Upon returning to Ohio, Priska initiated her escape plan with scientific precision. She created a secure email account accessed only through library computers. She documented injuries with time-stamped photographs. She recorded verbal abuse on a voice recorder disguised as a tube of lipstick. Most critically, she consulted attorney Russell Hawkins, known for handling high-risk divorce cases. Their meetings occurred during work lunches at coffee shops far from North Star Biomedical. She approached her escape like a research project, Hawkins recounted. She gathered evidence methodically: bank statements showing financial abuse, recordings of threats, medical records documenting accidental injuries. She understood exactly what she was facing. By September 2022, with Aquila attending a sales conference in Pittsburgh, Priska executed her plan. She filed for divorce, secured emergency protective orders, and moved essential belongings to a corporate apartment provided confidentially through North Star's Employee Assistance Program. This story takes a deadly turn. Hit like now and comment what you think happens next. What Priska couldn't have known was that her digital life had been compromised months earlier. Forensic analysis later revealed Aquila had installed surveillance software on all Priska's devices. Every email, every call, every message to her attorney, Aquila monitored it all in real time. Most chilling, GPS data showed Aquila tracking Priska's movements throughout the supposed Pittsburgh conference. Cell tower pings revealed she wasn't at the conference hotel, but parked outside Priska's lawyer's office, watching, waiting, building rage with each new discovery. On September 23, 2022, Aquila Mercer's rental car pulled into the driveway of her Sycamore Avenue home.
2 days before her scheduled return from Pittsburgh. Security footage captured her rigid posture as she collected mail from the box. Among the envelopes, legal documents from Russell Hawkins' law offices. Inside, she discovered the divorce petition, protective order, and financial disclosure requirements. Her phone records show 27 minutes of complete inactivity after this discovery, a stark contrast to her typical constant messaging. At 3:41 p.m., traffic cameras recorded her black Audi entering the parking lot of Ridgewood Firearms. Store surveillance showed her purposeful stride to the counter, her practiced stance at the shooting range, her methodical selection of the Smith & Wesson 9mm. The cashier later testified about her unusual calmness while purchasing hollow point ammunition, the kind that causes maximum damage. Back at the house, digital forensics revealed Aquila's calculated preparations. Her search history included how to make a murder look like self-defense, clean up blood evidence completely, do protective orders apply if invited home. At 8:20 p.m., she texted Priska, "I know exactly what you've done. I found your new place. We need to talk tonight." Phone records show Priska immediately called attorney Hawkins, who warned her in a 6-minute call to avoid all contact. "Under no circumstances should you return to that house," he advised. "I can request police escort if you need to retrieve belongings." Priska then called her sister in Cincinnati. "She's manipulating me again," Priska said. "She always threatens but never follows through." Meanwhile, at the Sycamore Avenue house, Aquila arranged a mockery of reconciliation. Fresh linens on the bed, wedding photos positioned prominently, Priska's favorite champagne chilling beside crystal flutes, the gun concealed beneath Aquila's pillow. At 10:45 p.m., security cameras at Priska's temporary residence recorded her departure. GPS tracking showed her direct route to the house she once called home. At 11:02 p.m., doorbell camera footage captured her hesitant approach and key in the lock. The next 15 minutes would be the last of Priska Mercer's life. At 11:02 p.m., home security footage captured Priska entering through the side door. The house was unusually quiet. Soft, classical music played from the bedroom speakers. A trail of rose petals led up the stairs, visible in the dim lighting. "Hello?" Priska called, her voice echoing through the foyer. "Aquila?" No response came as she cautiously climbed the stairs, phone clutched tightly in her hand. The master bedroom door stood partially open, warm light spilling into the hallway. What awaited inside was a calculated scene of false reconciliation. Fresh white linens adorned the bed. Wedding photos lined every surface. Priska's favorite champagne, an expensive vintage they'd discovered on their honeymoon, chilled in an ice bucket beside 2 crystal flutes. A handwritten note on Priska's pillow read, "I understand now. I'll sign whatever you need." According to the forensic reconstruction, Priska hesitated at the threshold for 43 seconds before fully entering the room. As she moved toward the note, she didn't notice Aquila emerging from the ensuite bathroom. "You weren't supposed to leave me," Aquila said, causing Priska to turn sharply. The first bullet struck Priska's upper chest. She stumbled backward toward her closet, attempting to speak. Blood spatter patterns indicate she raised her hands in defense as the second and third shots hit her torso in rapid succession. The force propelled her against the window where she collapsed. Analysis of blood trails shows she remained conscious, attempting to crawl toward the door. The fourth and final shot struck her from above as Aquila stood over her. Ballistics experts testified that Aquila fired from progressively closer range, the fourth shot from less than 2 feet away. As Priska realized the trap she'd walked into, it was already too late. Her final text message, never sent but found in her phone's draft folder. She had a gun. Call 911. When Detective Lorenzo Alvarez arrived at 11:32 p.m., the crime scene told a story not of passion, but calculation. The staged bedroom, with its romantic props and strategic layout, contradicted Aquila's initial claim of a heated argument that escalated. Everything about this scene was methodical, Detective Alvarez noted in his report. The placement of furniture allowed no clear escape route. The champagne hadn't been opened. The rose petals were arranged after the home security system recorded Aquila's return. Most revealing was a manila envelope placed conspicuously on Priska's pillow. Inside, printed screenshots of every text, email, and phone call between Priska and her attorney. Photos of Priska entering the divorce lawyer's office, images of her temporary apartment building, copies of the protective order she believed Aquila hadn't yet seen. This wasn't just monitoring, it was comprehensive surveillance, digital forensics expert Natasha Kaminsky testified. We found specialized spyware on Priska's devices dating back 7 months. Every keystroke, every photo, every location had been tracked. Aquila's devices revealed meticulous preparation. A folder labeled Options contained detailed plans, including alternative scenarios if Priska refused to return home. Browser history showed searches for best places to dispose of evidence in Ohio. How long before missing person becomes investigation? Countries without U.S. extradition treaties. Financial records indicated Aquila had transferred $175,000 to an offshore account 3 days before the murder and had applied for an expedited passport renewal. The investigation also uncovered 2 previous relationships with similar patterns. Former partners of Aquila described controlling behavior, financial exploitation, and threats when they attempted to leave, though neither had previously pressed charges. But the most chilling evidence was yet to be discovered. Hidden in Aquila's cloud storage, investigators found a journal detailing her growing rage as Priska's escape plan unfolded. The final entry, dated the morning of the murder, read, "She thinks divorce papers will free her. Only I decide when this relationship ends." The 2-week trial of Aquila Mercer became Ohio's most closely watched legal proceeding of 2023. Her defense team attempted to portray her as a victim of extreme emotional distress, suffering from temporary insanity when confronted with abandonment. This narrative collapsed when prosecutors presented their methodically organized evidence. The gun purchase receipt time-stamped hours before the murder, the elaborate bedroom staging, the comprehensive surveillance operation, and the offshore account transfers. Most damaging was testimony from Aquila's former partners who described identical patterns of control, isolation, and threats when they attempted to leave. After just 5 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with their verdict. Guilty of first-degree murder with special circumstances of premeditation. Judge Raymond Okafor sentenced Aquila to life imprisonment without possibility of parole for 35 years. This verdict sends a crucial message, said prosecutor Layla Washington. Domestic violence knows no boundaries of gender, sexuality, or social status. Control that escalates to murder will face the fullest consequences of the law. The Mercer case transformed how Ohio law enforcement approaches domestic violence in LGBTQ+ relationships. The State Police Academy now includes a full module based on Priska's attempted escape plan and the warning signs that preceded her murder. Controlling behavior often goes unrecognized in same-sex relationships, explains Dr. Marcus Collins, domestic violence researcher at Ohio State University. Financial abuse, digital surveillance, and isolation tactics appear in all relationship types, yet receive less attention in LGBTQ+ contexts. Today, Priska's scientific legacy continues through the Priska Mercer Foundation for Vaccine Research, funding promising female microbiologists. Her colleagues established a memorial scholarship supporting women escaping domestic violence while pursuing scientific careers. Her research saved countless lives, Dr. Pearson reflected. Now her story might save countless more. The tragedy of Priska Mercer reveals critical warning signs that appear in many domestic homicides. Isolation from friends and family, financial control, digital surveillance, and escalating threats when independence is sought. Experts confirm that the most dangerous period in any abusive relationship occurs when the victim attempts to leave. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, 75% of domestic homicides happen during or after separation. precisely when victims believe they've finally escaped. Priska did everything right, says Tanya Rodriguez from the Columbus Alliance Against Domestic Violence. She gathered evidence, sought legal protection, created a safety plan, and still became a victim. This underscores why comprehensive support systems are essential. If you recognize these patterns in your relationship or someone else's, resources exist. National Domestic Violence, Hotline 1-800-799-7233. The Trevor Project, LGBTQ+, 1-866-488-7386. Local shelters offer confidential assistance regardless of gender or sexuality. Remember, controlling behavior rarely improves without intervention. What begins as protectiveness can escalate to surveillance, isolation, and ultimately, violence. If this story impacted you, please share it to raise awareness about relationship red flags. These warning signs appear long before violence erupts. Someone watching might recognize their own situation reflected here, and that recognition could save their life. Subscribe for more true crime stories that educate while they captivate.